Yeah, welcome. So some if function is very handy function while using Excel. So it's basically used to sum up based on like certain conditions. So instead of just writing your sum straightforward like that or just summing up the entire row or column, you can just use an if conditions inside your sum. So while summing, you can also put some conditions. Take for example this particular task now. Yeah, we are tasked to actually get the sum of the quantity of olives in France. So basically, that's what this task is saying. So the result to something will look like this using SUMIF function. So SUMIF function is just combining sum and ifs. Ifs in this sense because we are using like two criteria. So if it's just olives now we are looking for, we just use one criteria. So because we are using two criteria, we're using some ifs. So the sum range is the first parameter that we need there. You can see. So the sum range, then the criteria one, criteria range, and the criteria one, then the criteria two, and the criteria two range, and the criteria, and it goes on like that. So all you can do here is to get our sum range, and our sum range is our quantity, basically what we are trying to sum. Control shift down to actually get all the sum range. Then you can go from there to get our criteria range one, which is our product. So control shift down to pick it. So that's the range of what we are going to be looking for. But the criteria we are looking for in particular is the olives in the product criteria. Then you can go to our criteria two. You get to pick our criteria range. So we go down, control shift down, that's our criteria range. Then we can pick our criteria itself, which is in G4. We can't see it now, but basically it's saying Spain there. Then you can just close, and you can see now we have 720 quantity of olives in France. That's what it means. Another one that we can use is count ifs. So count ifs is basically, it works like some ifs too, but we will probably not be needing the quantity because it counts the rows one by one based on the criteria we give it. So let's see it in action. So count if here now, you can see now we are going to be using count ifs because we have two criteria that we need to satisfy. So it's asking for a criteria range here, as you can see, criteria range. So our first criteria range will be our product. We don't need the quantity because it counts the row itself. So this is our so that's our criteria range. We get our criteria range here. Then we need to pick the criteria itself, which is olive. Then we go from there to pick our second criteria. We can use control shift down here. So control shift down here gives us the criteria range 2. Then we can pick our criteria 2 here. So basically that's everything for. So basically you can see that we have two count of olives in France, but the quantity that we have is 720. So that's just basically how to use olive. So a real world scenario would be maybe you are working in a fintech and we customers have done transaction on different products that you offer. Maybe you offer cross-border payments, you offer normal local transfer, you offer bill payments, and the products are there. The quantity that the transaction value that they have there, then you can just use SUMIF or COUNTIF to get maybe the amount of transaction they did, the count, and also the value itself, which is the sum of the values of transaction they did. So that's one. That's why SUMIF is very important. So we can also do if. I think I've done some before here. This if is also very handy. If is just um basically a function that tells us to give like condition to so that we can get some particular value that we want. Take for example, we need to give each of these field agents that they have done their work now. We need to like give them bonuses based on some criteria, based on some conditions. So we can use the if statements or the if function here now So you can see now the if function has like the logical test that you want it to satisfy, then the value that it should return if it's true, and the value that it should return if it's false, which is a very, very simple and straightforward function. So the logical test we're trying to do here, take for example, you want to say like each client that brings in more than 20 should have a bonus, and if you don't have up to 20 clients that you brought in, then I mean they shouldn't give you any bonus. So you can just do pick the new clients that I brought in. If it's greater than 20, that's a logical condition. Then you can say return true. You can just return yes or true. Any value you want to put. So we have to wrap it in a quotation because it's a text or string type. So yeah, you can say no here. Then close it. So you can see now there's a yes and there's a no. So why these colors are appearing, because I have worked on it before, and it's basically a conditional statement here, which you can get from here. This conditional statement. So yeah, so bonus if yeah, so this there's another if you want to like use multiple logical tests inside just one function, you can use the if s. So if s will actually make you have like different logical tests just in one uh function. Take for example, we want to see any clients that brought in more than 20 clients, more than 20 clients, then the value you should return is okay. Maybe you want to give the person 800 naira, for example. Then another person that brought in, if the person brought in, uh, let's just say any other one that did less than 20 should just get 100 naira. Anyone that did less than 20, so far as less than 20, then just give them 200, irrespective of what they brought in. Can just close it. You can see now, basically using multiple if function, you can see this one brought in 52 more than 20, so it's getting 800. This one brought in 19, which is less than 20, it's getting 200. So another way of using if function is using it with and function. So basically, if you want to join multiple conditions from different columns, I think this is one of the best way to do it. You can just use your normal if statement, then you put your and. So this is going to satisfy like two conditions at the same time from different columns. So this and function, I can say if this particular field agent brought in more than 20 clients, and also if it has a if the client gave them a satisfaction score of more than maybe 5, then you can say this guy is eligible for bonus. Yes, or you can put a number there depending on what you want to do. Then you can say yeah, so basically if so why this and is very important is that these two conditions must be true. If one is false, it will return an error, it will not go through. So this two has to be true. If you want it to be like maybe, I mean, you satisfy at least one of it, then you use an or statement. So it will not return an error. But if you want this particular condition, the two to be satisfied, then you use an and statement. So you can see now, can just roll it down. Yeah, you can see now, this one would satisfy it because it didn't bring 20 clients and it has less than 4 ratings from the client. So basically this particular field agent